The morning sun cast long shadows across the Naval Academy's pristine courtyard as Lieutenant Sarah Chen walked through the gates for the first time. Her crisp, white uniform stood out against the sea of veteran officers, each bearing the weathered confidence that came from years of service. At 26, Sarah was older than most new recruits, having spent her early 20s earning advanced degrees in naval engineering and strategic warfare before finally pursuing her childhood dream of serving at sea. The academy buzzed with the energy of fresh starts and new beginnings. Sarah had transferred from the Pacific Fleet's Research Division, where she had spent 3 years developing advanced sonar systems and underwater detection technologies. Her work had earned recognition from the highest levels of naval command, but she craved the real experience that only came from active duty aboard a ship. As she made her way to the orientation hall, Sarah noticed the curious glances from other officers. Some seemed genuinely welcoming, while others carried the subtle skepticism reserved for outsiders trying to prove themselves in an established hierarchy. The naval service had always been a world where respect was earned through action, not credentials, and Sarah understood she would need to demonstrate her worth beyond her impressive academic background. The orientation session was led by Commander Marcus Rodriguez, a grizzled veteran with 22 years of service and 3 combat deployments. His weathered face told stories of storms weathered and missions accomplished. He spoke with the authority that came from leading sailors through both routine operations and life-threatening emergencies. "Ladies and gentlemen," Commander Rodriguez began, his voice carrying across the packed auditorium, "you are here because you have demonstrated exceptional potential. But potential means nothing without execution. Over the next 6 months, you will be tested in ways that will challenge everything you think you know about leadership, teamwork, and personal limits." Sarah listened intently as the commander outlined the rigorous training program ahead. They would rotate through different departments aboard active vessels, learning everything from navigation and communications to weapon systems and emergency procedures. Each officer would be evaluated not just on technical competence, but on their ability to make critical decisions under pressure and earn the trust of experienced sailors who had seen countless promising officers come and go. After the briefing, the new officers were divided into groups for their first assignment rotations. Sarah found herself assigned to the USS Meridian, a guided missile destroyer known for its demanding training standards and exceptional crew performance. The ship had recently returned from a 6-month deployment in the Mediterranean and was preparing for advanced tactical exercises in the Atlantic. The bus ride to the naval port gave Sarah her first glimpse of the massive vessels that would become her temporary homes. The destroyer's sleek profile cut an impressive silhouette against the harbor, its sophisticated radar arrays and weapon systems speaking to the technological advancement of modern naval warfare. As they approached the gangway, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. Captain Jennifer Walsh met the new officers at the ship's entrance. Her reputation preceded her as one of the most respected commanders in the fleet, known for maintaining the highest operational standards while developing exceptional junior officers. She had earned her position through a combination of tactical brilliance, unwavering integrity, and the rare ability to inspire both fear and loyalty in equal measure. "Welcome aboard the Meridian," Captain Walsh said, her sharp eyes scanning the group of newcomers. "This ship operates at a level of excellence that has been maintained through decades of dedicated service. You will either rise to meet our standards or find yourselves reassigned to positions better suited to your capabilities." The tour of the ship revealed the complex ecosystem that kept a modern destroyer operational. From the engine room's massive turbines to the bridge's sophisticated command center, every space served a critical purpose in the vessel's mission capability. Sarah was struck by the seamless coordination between different departments and the obvious pride the crew took in their ship and their roles. Her first assignment placed her in the communications department under Chief Petty Officer David Kumar, a 15-year veteran who had served on 5 different vessels and earned a reputation for training officers who went on to distinguished careers. Chief Kumar was known for his demanding standards and his ability to identify an officer's potential within days of their arrival. "Ma'am," Chief Kumar said as he showed Sarah to her workstation, "communications is the nervous system of this ship. Every order, every piece of intelligence, every emergency response depends on our ability to maintain clear, reliable contact with our fleet, our command structure, and our allies. One mistake in this department can compromise an entire mission." The communications center was a marvel of modern technology, with multiple radio systems, satellite links, encrypted data networks, and emergency backup systems all operating simultaneously. Sarah quickly realized that mastering these systems required not just technical knowledge, but the ability to prioritize multiple urgent communications while maintaining absolute accuracy under pressure. Her first week aboard the Meridian was a whirlwind of learning new procedures, memorizing protocols, and adapting to the rhythm of shipboard life. The crew worked around the clock in rotating shifts, maintaining constant readiness for whatever mission might come next. Sarah found herself working closely with seasoned petty officers who had years of experience and little patience for officers who couldn't quickly demonstrate their competence. Petty Officer First Class Maria Santos had been working communications for 8 years and had developed an almost supernatural ability to manage multiple radio channels while tracking complex operational details. She became Sarah's primary mentor in the practical aspects of the job, teaching her the shortcuts and techniques that weren't covered in any manual but were essential for real-world operations. "Lieutenant," Santos explained during a particularly busy training exercise, "the manual tells you what buttons to push, but experience teaches you when to push them. In a real emergency, you need to anticipate what information the bridge will need before they ask for it." The ship's routine was punctuated by various training exercises designed to test different aspects of their operational readiness. These ranged from fire drills and damage control scenarios to complex tactical simulations involving multiple vessels and aircraft. Each exercise revealed new layers of the intricate coordination required to operate a modern warship effectively. During her third week aboard, Sarah experienced her first major storm, while the ship was conducting night operations off the coast. The destroyer's motion through heavy seas was unlike anything she had experienced, and she quickly learned the importance of maintaining focus and performance even when the ship was rolling 30 degrees in each direction. The storm also provided her first real test of crisis management skills when a communication relay failed during a critical coordination exercise with other fleet vessels. Working with Chief Kumar and the technical crew, Sarah helped diagnose the problem and implement a backup solution that allowed the exercise to continue without compromising safety or mission objectives. Captain Walsh had been quietly observing the performance of her new officers, and Sarah's calm handling of the communication crisis caught her attention. During the weekly officer evaluation meeting, the captain noted Sarah's technical competence and her ability to work effectively with enlisted personnel, qualities that were essential for successful naval leadership. The social dynamics among the officers were complex, reflecting the mix of competitive ambition and collaborative necessity that characterized military service. Sarah found herself building friendships with some of her fellow newcomers while maintaining the professional relationships essential for effective teamwork. The informal conversations in the officers' mess often revealed as much about leadership and naval culture as the formal training sessions. Lieutenant Commander Tom Bradley, the ship's operations officer, became an informal mentor for Sarah and several other new officers. His willingness to share insights from his 12 years of service helped bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application. Bradley had served in various capacities across different types of vessels and could provide perspective on the broader naval career paths available to promising officers. As Sarah's first month aboard the Meridian neared its end, she began to understand the deeper aspects of naval service that extended beyond technical competence and procedural knowledge. The trust between crew members, the pride in mission accomplishment, and the sense of belonging to something larger than oneself were intangible but essential elements of effective naval operations. The ship's crew had begun to accept her as more than just another rotating trainee. Her willingness to work extra shifts, her respectful approach to learning from experienced sailors, and her growing competence in her assigned duties had earned her a place in the complex social hierarchy that governed shipboard life. This acceptance was crucial for any officer hoping to advance to positions of greater responsibility and authority. Sarah's technical background proved increasingly valuable as she gained practical experience with the ship's systems. Her ability to understand the engineering principles behind the equipment allowed her to troubleshoot problems more effectively and contribute to the continuous improvement processes that kept the ship operating at peak efficiency. This combination of theoretical knowledge and practical application would become a defining characteristic of her naval career. The transition from communications to the navigation department marked a significant shift in Sarah's training experience. Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Foster, the ship's navigator, was known throughout the fleet for her precision and her ability to guide vessels through the most challenging waters. Her reputation had been forged during a rescue mission in the North Atlantic, where her navigation skills had been crucial in reaching a disabled merchant vessel before a storm could claim the lives of its crew. "Navigation is both an art and a science," Commander Foster explained as she oriented Sarah to the bridge's navigation station. "Our electronic systems can tell us our position within meters, but understanding how to use that information to accomplish our mission requires judgment that only comes from experience." The navigation center was equipped with multiple GPS systems, electronic charts, radar displays, and traditional backup instruments that could function even if all electronic systems failed. Sarah learned to cross-reference different sources of positional data and to maintain situational awareness of weather patterns, ocean currents, and maritime traffic that could affect the ship's movement. Her second month aboard the Meridian brought new challenges as the ship prepared for a joint training exercise with Allied naval forces. The operation would involve coordinating movements with vessels from 3 different countries, each using slightly different communication protocols and navigation standards. Sarah's role expanded to include liaison duties with foreign naval officers, requiring her to adapt quickly to different operational styles and cultural approaches to military service. The international exercise took place in the waters off the Iberian Peninsula, where the combined fleet would practice anti-submarine warfare, air defense, and humanitarian assistance scenarios. For Sarah, the operation provided exposure to the broader context of naval operations and the diplomatic dimensions of military cooperation between allied nations. Commander Foster assigned Sarah to work directly with the Spanish Navy liaison officer, Lieutenant Carlos Mendez, who had extensive experience in Mediterranean operations. The collaboration required Sarah to learn new chart symbols, communication procedures, and tactical concepts while maintaining the precise coordination essential for safe multinational operations. "Your Navy's approach is very systematic," Lieutenant Mendez observed during a planning session. "My experience with American officers is that you combine technical excellence with flexible thinking. This is valuable in complex operations where conditions can change rapidly." The exercise scenarios tested every aspect of the ship's capabilities. Sarah found herself managing navigation data during simulated combat situations, coordinating with aircraft conducting surveillance missions, and tracking submarine contacts using sonar information. Each scenario built on the previous one, creating increasingly complex challenges that required split-second decision-making and flawless execution. During the anti-submarine warfare phase, Sarah's technical background proved invaluable when the ship's primary sonar system experienced intermittent failures. Working with the sonar technicians, she helped diagnose the problem as a software conflict that was causing periodic data corruption. Her understanding of both the technical systems and the operational requirements allowed her to develop a temporary workaround that kept the ship fully operational throughout the exercise. Captain Walsh had been monitoring Sarah's performance throughout the international exercise, noting her ability to adapt to new challenges while maintaining the high standards expected of Meridian officers. The captain's evaluation reports consistently praised Sarah's technical competence, leadership potential, and ability to work effectively with both American and foreign personnel. The successful completion of the international exercise led to Sarah's next assignment rotation, this time to the Weapons Department under Lieutenant Commander Jason Torres. The weapons systems on a modern destroyer represented some of the most sophisticated technology in the naval arsenal, and mastering their operation required a combination of technical knowledge, tactical understanding, and absolute attention to safety protocols. "Weapons systems are the sharp end of naval power," Commander Torres explained during Sarah's orientation. "Everything else we do aboard this ship exists to support our ability to deliver precise, controlled force when required by our mission. The responsibility that comes with this capability cannot be overstated." The weapons department maintained and operated everything from the ship's main gun to its missile systems, torpedo launchers, and defensive countermeasures. Each system required specialized training, regular maintenance, and constant readiness testing to ensure reliability when needed. Sarah was impressed by the technical sophistication of the equipment and the extensive safety procedures that governed every aspect of weapons handling. Her training in the weapons department coincided with a series of live-fire exercises designed to test the ship's combat readiness. These exercises took place in designated training areas where the crew could practice engaging targets under realistic conditions without endangering civilian vessels or aircraft. For Sarah, the live fire exercises provided her first experience with the awesome destructive power that modern naval vessels could bring to bear. The main gun exercises were particularly impressive, with the ship's 5-inch cannon firing at targets several miles away with precision that would have been impossible just decades earlier. The integration of radar tracking, computer fire control, and GPS guidance systems allowed the gunners to hit targets smaller than a car at ranges that stretched beyond the horizon. Missile firing exercises demonstrated even more advanced capabilities, with the ship's vertical launch systems engaging aerial targets and surface contacts using different types of guided weapons. Sarah's role involved coordinating target data between the weapons systems and the ship's radar operators, ensuring that each missile received accurate guidance information throughout its flight. The complexity of modern naval weapons required extensive cross-training between departments, and Sarah found herself working closely with personnel from radar operations, damage control, and engineering. This interdepartmental cooperation reinforced the lesson that effective naval operations depended on seamless coordination between specialized teams, each contributing their expertise to accomplish the ship's overall mission. Chief Warrant Officer Patricia Williams had been working with naval weapons systems for 18 years and had served during 3 major conflicts. Her experience provided invaluable context for understanding how the ship's capabilities had evolved and how they fit into the broader framework of naval strategy and international security. Lieutenant, Chief Williams explained during a maintenance session, "These systems represent decades of technological advancement, but they're only as effective as the people operating them. The key to weapons proficiency isn't just knowing how to fire them, but understanding when and why to use different capabilities." Sarah's weapons department rotation included extensive training in damage control procedures, since weapons systems were often primary targets during combat operations. She learned to operate backup systems, coordinate emergency repairs, and maintain weapons capability even after sustaining significant damage. These scenarios reinforced the importance of redundancy and flexibility in naval system design. The ship's defensive systems were equally sophisticated, designed to detect and neutralize incoming threats before they could damage the vessel or harm its crew. Sarah trained on radar jammers, chaff dispensers, and close-in weapons systems that could automatically engage incoming missiles or aircraft. The speed and precision required for effective defensive operations highlighted the importance of constant readiness and regular training. During her time in the weapons department, Sarah also gained exposure to the strategic and tactical planning that guided the ship's operations. She participated in mission planning sessions where officers analyzed potential threats, selected appropriate weapons systems, and coordinated with other vessels to maximize their collective effectiveness. These planning exercises revealed the intellectual challenges that complemented the technical demands of naval service. The weapons department's training schedule included regular drills that tested crew response times and coordination under pressure. Sarah found these drills particularly valuable for developing the quick decision-making skills essential for combat operations. The ability to rapidly assess a situation, select appropriate responses, and execute complex procedures without hesitation was fundamental to survival in hostile environments. Her performance during weapons training earned recognition from both Commander Torres and the senior petty officers who supervised daily operations. Their feedback consistently praised her technical grasp of the systems, her attention to safety protocols, and her ability to remain calm and focused during high-pressure scenarios. This reputation for competence under pressure would prove crucial as her naval career progressed. The end of Sarah's weapons department rotation coincided with the ship's preparation for a major fleet exercise that would test all aspects of their operational readiness. The exercise would involve coordinating with submarines, aircraft carriers, and support vessels in scenarios designed to simulate real-world crisis response operations. For Sarah, the fleet exercise represented an opportunity to apply everything she had learned during her rotations through different departments. Captain Walsh selected Sarah to serve as part of the ship's command team during the fleet exercise, a recognition of her growing competence and leadership potential. The assignment would place her in the ship's Combat Information Center during the most complex and challenging scenarios, providing exposure to the highest levels of tactical decision-making and operational coordination. The Combat Information Center was the ship's nerve center during operations, where information from all sensors and communication systems was analyzed and coordinated to maintain situational awareness and guide tactical responses. Working in this environment required the ability to process multiple streams of complex information while maintaining clear communication with other vessels and command authorities. Sarah's diverse training background proved invaluable in the Combat Information Center, where her understanding of navigation, communications, and weapons systems allowed her to contribute effectively to the rapid decision-making required during dynamic operations. Her ability to understand how different ship systems interacted gave her a broader perspective than many officers who had specialized in single departments. The fleet exercise scenarios included humanitarian assistance operations, where naval vessels coordinated with civilian agencies to respond to natural disasters or other emergencies. These scenarios highlighted the broader role of naval forces beyond traditional military missions and demonstrated the importance of flexibility and adaptability in modern naval operations. The completion of Sarah's rotation aboard the Meridian marked the beginning of a new phase in her naval career. Her performance evaluations had been consistently outstanding, earning her recognition as one of the most promising officers in her class. Captain Walsh's final assessment noted Sarah's exceptional technical competence, natural leadership abilities, and the rare combination of analytical thinking and practical problem-solving skills that characterize the most successful naval officers. The next assignment took Sarah to the Pentagon, where she would spend 18 months working in the Naval Operations Center, coordinating fleet movements across multiple theaters of operation. The position offered exposure to the strategic level of naval planning and the opportunity to work with senior officers who shaped naval policy and doctrine. For a junior officer, assignment to the Pentagon represented both recognition of exceptional potential and a crucial step toward future command responsibilities. The Naval Operations Center operated around the clock, monitoring naval activities worldwide and coordinating responses to emerging situations that required fleet involvement. Sarah found herself working with admirals, senior captains, and civilian defense officials who made decisions affecting thousands of sailors and billions of dollars in naval assets. The complexity and scope of global naval operations far exceeded what she had experienced during her shipboard service. Rear Admiral Michael Thompson, who supervised the Operations Center, had earned his reputation through successful commands during 3 major conflicts and a distinguished career spanning 31 years. His approach to naval strategy emphasized the importance of maintaining global presence while preserving the flexibility needed to respond rapidly to unexpected crises. Working for Admiral Thompson provided Sarah with insights into the highest levels of military decision-making. Lieutenant Chen, Admiral Thompson said during one of their regular briefings, "Naval power is ultimately about presence and credibility. Our ability to influence world events depends not just on our ships and weapons, but on the demonstrated competence of our personnel at every level. Excellence in small matters builds the trust necessary for success in large ones." Sarah's responsibilities in the Operations Center included analyzing intelligence reports, coordinating with allied naval forces, and preparing briefing materials for senior officers and civilian officials. The work required her to synthesize information from multiple sources and present complex situations in clear, actionable formats. Her technical background proved valuable in understanding the capabilities and limitations of different naval systems and platforms. The global scope of naval operations became apparent as Sarah monitored activities in the Pacific, Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Indian Ocean simultaneously. Each region presented unique challenges and opportunities, requiring different approaches to maintaining security and stability. The coordination required to keep multiple fleets operating effectively across vast distances highlighted the sophistication of modern naval command and control systems. During her Pentagon assignment, Sarah also attended advanced strategy courses at the Naval War College, where she studied maritime history, international law, and strategic theory. These courses provided the broader context for understanding how naval operations fit into national security strategy and international relations. The academic environment allowed for deeper reflection on the principles and concepts that guided naval thinking. Her War College studies included analysis of historical naval campaigns, examining how technological advances, strategic innovations, and leadership decisions had shaped the outcomes of major conflicts. Sarah found particular value in studying the evolution of naval tactics and the ways that successful commanders had adapted to changing circumstances and new challenges. The combination of practical experience in the operations center and theoretical study at the War College gave Sarah a comprehensive understanding of naval operations, from tactical execution to strategic planning. This broad perspective would prove essential as she progressed to positions requiring greater responsibility and more complex decision-making. After completing her Pentagon assignment, Sarah received orders to report as executive officer aboard the USS Defiance, a guided missile cruiser known for its demanding operational schedule and high performance standards. The position of executive officer represented a significant advancement in responsibility, placing Sarah second in command of a major naval vessel with a crew of over 300 sailors. Captain Linda Morrison, the Defiance's commanding officer, had a reputation for developing exceptional junior officers while maintaining the highest operational standards. Her approach to leadership emphasized personal accountability, professional development, and the importance of earning respect through demonstrated competence rather than formal authority. Working for Captain Morrison would provide Sarah with invaluable experience in ship command and crew management. "XO," Captain Morrison said as she welcomed Sarah aboard. "This ship has a tradition of excellence that has been maintained through decades of dedicated service. As executive officer, you are responsible for ensuring that every department operates at peak efficiency while preparing yourself for eventual command responsibilities." The executive officer position required Sarah to coordinate between all ship departments, manage personnel issues, oversee training programs, and serve as the captain's primary advisor on operational matters. The breadth of responsibilities provided exposure to every aspect of ship operations, and the complex challenges involved in managing a large, diverse crew in a demanding environment. Sarah's first major test as executive officer came during a deployment to the Persian Gulf, where the Defiance joined a multinational task force conducting maritime security operations. The deployment involved coordinating with naval forces from 12 different countries, each bringing different capabilities, operational procedures, and cultural approaches to military cooperation. The multinational environment required exceptional diplomatic skills alongside military competence, as Sarah found herself serving as the ship's primary liaison with foreign naval officers. Her ability to build productive relationships across cultural and language barriers became crucial for the task force's overall effectiveness and the success of joint operations. One particularly challenging situation arose when tensions escalated between two allied nations, threatening to compromise the task force's cohesion and effectiveness. Sarah worked closely with Captain Morrison and the task force commander to develop diplomatic solutions that preserved the coalition while maintaining focus on the primary mission. Her role in resolving this crisis demonstrated the leadership and problem-solving skills essential for senior command positions. The Persian Gulf deployment also exposed Sarah to the humanitarian dimensions of naval operations, when the task force responded to a devastating earthquake in the region. The Defiance played a crucial role in coordinating relief efforts, providing medical assistance, and maintaining security during the emergency response. Sarah's management of the ship's contributions to the humanitarian mission earned recognition from both the task force commander and international relief organizations. During the deployment, Sarah also gained experience with the complex logistics required to maintain naval operations far from home ports. Coordinating fuel, supplies, spare parts, and personnel rotations across vast distances required careful planning and the ability to adapt quickly when circumstances changed. Her technical background proved valuable in understanding equipment needs and maintenance requirements. The successful completion of the Persian Gulf deployment led to Sarah's selection for accelerated promotion and assignment to the Naval Academy as an instructor in strategic studies. The teaching position provided an opportunity to share her operational experience with future naval officers, while continuing her own professional development through advanced academic study. Her 3 years at the Naval Academy allowed Sarah to influence the next generation of naval officers while deepening her own understanding of naval strategy and leadership principles. Teaching courses in maritime strategy, international security, and naval history required her to synthesize her practical experience with broader theoretical knowledge and present complex concepts in accessible formats. The academic environment also provided opportunities for research and writing that contributed to naval thinking on emerging challenges. Sarah's published articles on technology integration and international cooperation earned recognition from senior naval leaders and established her reputation as a thoughtful analyst of naval affairs. Her students at the Naval Academy included future submarine commanders, surface warfare officers, and naval aviators, who would go on to serve in various capacities throughout the fleet. The relationships built during her teaching assignment created a network of professional contacts that would prove valuable throughout her subsequent career. The completion of her academy assignment brought Sarah her first major command opportunity, captain of the USS Resolute, a state-of-the-art destroyer equipped with the most advanced sensor and weapons systems in the naval inventory. Taking command of her own vessel represented the culmination of 15 years of preparation and the beginning of the most challenging phase of her naval career. The change of command ceremony was attended by senior officers who had observed Sarah's development over the years, including Admiral Thompson from the Pentagon and Captain Walsh from the Meridian. Their presence reflected the high expectations that accompanied her appointment and the confidence that senior leadership had in her abilities. "Captain Chen," Admiral Thompson said during the ceremony, "command at sea is the ultimate test of everything you have learned about leadership, strategy, and naval operations. The responsibility you assume today extends far beyond this ship to encompass our Navy's mission and our nation's security interests." Taking command of the Resolute brought new challenges that tested every aspect of Sarah's knowledge and experience. Managing a crew of highly trained specialists, maintaining readiness for multiple mission types, and representing American naval power in international waters required the synthesis of technical competence, leadership skills, and strategic understanding that characterized the most successful naval commanders. Her first deployment as captain took the Resolute to the Western Pacific, where rising tensions required careful navigation of complex diplomatic and military considerations. The ship's presence served both deterrent and reassurance functions, demonstrating American commitment to regional allies while maintaining the flexibility needed to respond to rapidly changing situations. The Western Pacific deployment included joint exercises with allied navies, freedom of navigation operations, and humanitarian assistance missions that showcase the diverse capabilities of modern naval forces. Sarah's leadership during these operations earned recognition from fleet commanders and allied naval officers who observed the Resolute's performance under her command. The success of Sarah's command aboard the Resolute opened doors to increasingly prestigious assignments and greater responsibilities within the naval hierarchy. Her reputation for technical excellence, strategic thinking, and effective leadership had spread throughout the fleet, earning her recognition as one of the most promising officers of her generation. The combination of operational success and professional development positioned her for advancement to the senior ranks that shaped naval policy and strategy. Her next assignment took her to Norfolk as Commodore of Destroyer Squadron 15, responsible for coordinating the operations of 8 destroyers and their crews totaling over 2,000 sailors. The position required her to think beyond individual ship operations to consider how multiple vessels could work together to accomplish complex missions requiring sustained coordination and mutual support. The destroyer squadron operated across multiple ocean areas simultaneously, with individual ships deployed to different regions, while maintaining overall coordination through advanced communication systems and standardized procedures. Sarah found herself managing operations in the Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Caribbean simultaneously, requiring constant attention to the changing political and security situations in each region. One of her first major challenges as Commodore came when international tensions escalated in the Eastern Mediterranean, requiring rapid deployment of additional naval assets to support diplomatic efforts and demonstrate American commitment to regional allies. Sarah coordinated the movement of 4 destroyers from their scattered positions to form a coherent task force capable of operating effectively in the complex political environment. The Eastern Mediterranean crisis tested every aspect of the squadron's capabilities, from high-speed transit across the Atlantic to coordination with allied naval forces from multiple nations. Sarah's ability to manage complex logistics while maintaining diplomatic sensitivity earned praise from fleet commanders and civilian officials who observed the operation's success. The resolution of the Mediterranean crisis through diplomatic means, rather than military action, demonstrated the value of naval presence as a tool for preventing conflicts rather than simply fighting them. and Sarah's role in maintaining coalition cohesion while preserving operational flexibility became a case study in effective naval diplomacy and strategic patience. Her success as squadron commander led to selection for promotion to Rear Admiral and assignment as commander of Carrier Strike Group 7, one of the most prestigious positions in the naval hierarchy. The Carrier Strike Group included an aircraft carrier, multiple escort vessels, submarines, and support ships, representing one of the most powerful concentrations of military capability that could be deployed anywhere in the world. The aircraft carrier USS Enterprise served as the strike group's flagship, carrying over 70 aircraft and a crew of more than 5,000 sailors and Marines. The complexity of carrier operations required Sarah to coordinate air operations, surface warfare, submarine activities, and logistics support while maintaining readiness for multiple mission types, ranging from humanitarian assistance to major combat operations. Her first deployment as Strike Group Commander took the Enterprise Battle Group to the Pacific, where rising tensions between regional powers required careful balancing of deterrence and reassurance. The deployment involved coordinating with Allied naval forces, conducting freedom of navigation operations, and maintaining the visible presence that served as a cornerstone of American strategy in the region. The Pacific deployment included joint exercises with Japanese, Australian, and South Korean naval forces, demonstrating the interoperability and mutual support that characterized American alliance relationships. Sarah's leadership during these exercises earned recognition from Allied commanders who noted the strike group's professionalism and the seamless coordination between different national forces. One particularly significant operation occurred when a major typhoon threatened populated areas along the Philippine coast, requiring immediate humanitarian assistance from available naval forces. Sarah coordinated the strike group's response, using the carrier's aircraft to conduct search and rescue operations, while escort vessels provided emergency supplies and medical assistance to affected communities. The typhoon response operation showcased the humanitarian capabilities of naval forces and demonstrated how military assets could be rapidly redirected to address natural disasters and other emergencies. Sarah's coordination of the multi-ship response earned commendations from international relief organizations and reinforced the importance of naval forces in global crisis response. The successful completion of the Pacific deployment led to Sarah's assignment to the Pentagon as Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Plans and Policy, one of the most senior positions in naval leadership. The assignment placed her at the center of strategic planning for the entire Navy and provided direct access to the highest levels of military and civilian leadership. Working in the Pentagon's senior leadership team exposed Sarah to the complex interactions between military requirements, political considerations, and budgetary constraints that shaped naval policy. Her responsibilities included developing long-term strategic plans, coordinating with other military services, and advising civilian officials on naval capabilities and limitations. The strategic planning role required Sarah to think decades into the future, considering how technological advances, geopolitical changes, and evolving threats might affect naval requirements. Her technical background proved invaluable in evaluating new systems and concepts, while her operational experience provided practical insights into implementation challenges. During her Pentagon assignment, Sarah also served as the Navy's primary liaison with Congress, briefing legislators on naval programs and defending budget requests that supported fleet modernization and operational readiness. The political dimension of military leadership required skills different from those needed for operational command, but equally important for institutional success. Her effectiveness in the Pentagon role earned recognition from the highest levels of naval leadership and positioned her for consideration for the most senior command positions. The combination of operational success, strategic thinking, and political acumen that characterized her career made her an obvious candidate for advancement to the Navy's most senior ranks. The opportunity came with her selection as commander of the Pacific Fleet, one of only a handful of four-star admiral positions in the Navy, and arguably the most important operational command in the service. The Pacific Fleet included over 200 ships, nearly 2,000 aircraft, and more than 150,000 personnel, operating across the largest and most strategically important ocean area in the world. Taking command of the Pacific Fleet represented the culmination of a remarkable career progression that had taken Sarah from a junior communications officer to one of the most senior positions in the American military. The change of command ceremony was attended by officials from throughout the government and representatives from allied nations who recognized the significance of her appointment. The Pacific Fleet Command brought unprecedented responsibilities, including oversight of naval operations across an area covering more than half the Earth's surface. Sarah found herself managing relationships with dozens of allied nations while coordinating operations involving nuclear submarines, aircraft carriers, and advanced missile systems that represented the cutting edge of military technology. Her first major test as Pacific Fleet Commander came during a crisis in the South China Sea, where competing territorial claims threatened to escalate into military conflict. Sarah's management of the naval response required careful coordination with civilian officials, allied military leaders, and international organizations working to prevent conflict escalation. The South China Sea crisis tested every aspect of Sarah's experience and judgment, requiring her to balance deterrent effects with diplomatic sensitivity while maintaining the flexibility needed to respond to rapidly changing circumstances. Her leadership during the crisis earned recognition from the highest levels of government and international praise for preventing military conflict through skilled naval diplomacy. Years later, Sarah would find herself at a naval conference where younger officers gathered around the bar discussing various admirals and their paths to success. The conversation inevitably turned to call signs and the stories behind them, with each officer sharing their knowledge of different commanders' nicknames and reputations. I heard Admiral Chen started as just another communications officer. One young lieutenant remarked, unaware that Sarah was within earshot. Pretty impressive rise for someone who probably spent her early career just managing radio calls. Another officer chimed in with obvious skepticism. Communications, really? That doesn't sound like Admiral material to me. I mean, what kind of call sign would someone like that even have? The conversation continued with various theories and jokes about what call sign a communications officer might earn, with each suggestion more dismissive than the last. The young officers clearly assumed that someone with such technical beginnings couldn't have developed the leadership and strategic capabilities needed for senior command. Sarah listened to their conversation with quiet amusement, remembering her own early days when she had faced similar skepticism from officers who couldn't see beyond her initial assignment. The path from lieutenant to admiral had been long and challenging, requiring her to prove herself repeatedly in increasingly demanding positions. As the conversation reached its peak of speculation and dismissive commentary, one of the officers finally noticed Sarah standing nearby. Recognition dawned slowly as they realized they had been discussing her career within her hearing, and the atmosphere in the group shifted dramatically.
"Ma'am," the first lieutenant stammered, suddenly aware of the significance of the woman standing before them, "we were just, discussing different career paths and—" Sarah smiled slightly as she stepped forward, her calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the obvious anxiety of the young officers who had just realized the magnitude of their mistake.
The moment stretched as everyone present understood that they were about to learn something significant about the Admiral's background.
"You were wondering about my call sign,"
Sarah said quietly, her voice carrying the authority that came from decades of command experience and the respect earned through countless successful operations. The simple statement carried weight that silenced all other conversation in the immediate area. The young officers waited in tense anticipation, unsure of what response their casual dismissal of her background might have provoked. Sarah's reputation for fairness was well known, but so was her expectation that officers would maintain the highest standards of professionalism and respect for their colleagues. After a moment that seemed much longer to the anxious lieutenants, Sarah delivered her response with the quiet confidence that had characterized every phase of her remarkable career. The single word she spoke would become part of naval legend, spoken with such understated authority that it ended all speculation about her qualifications for command.